With the 2020 race already heating up, there's one opponent all the candidates have in common: trolls hoping to take them down using the internet's latest high-tech scam. They're called deep fakes. Let's connect the dots. A deep fake is a video that can look very real enough to fool you and your computer. Using artificial intelligence, scammers can generate and test fake videos until the machine can't detect the forgery. These fakes first began showing up online in the form of pornography when users began swapping celebrity faces into videos and spreading them online. And celebs and politicians are the easiest targets. Why? The more video of a subject that exists, the better the deep fake that can be created by the computers. Fast forward to the 2020 race, not being able to tell the difference between a real video and an altered one makes the fight against fake news a lot harder. That's why a professor at Dartmouth College is developing software to spot deepfakes, and the military is even throwing money at researchers to find better ways to authenticate video. Until they do, remember, seeing isn't always believing. Connecting the dots, I'm Janelle Bludau for H-Town Rush.